Picture this: you're chillin' by the pool on a sunny day, soaking up those rays, when bam, the pool starts foaming like crazy and boiling over. Steam is everywhere, the sun's heat feels like a laser, and in an instant, it's all gone. Just charred walls and a blast crater. But here's the kicker: no nuclear bomb, no earthquake, no big deal, just a tiny object zooming by at the speed of light. Let's set things right from last time and dive into an even wilder scenario. Since nothing can actually hit light speed, we'll get close, really close. 99.9999999% of the speed of light is more than enough to blow our minds. This time around, instead of a backyard pool, let's imagine the needle is about to crash into the ocean at this insane velocity. What would happen? And when could something like this possibly occur in real life? Now, if that needle landed in the middle of nowhere, just a drop in the ocean, literally nothing super exciting would go down. But here's the mind-blowing part: what if it fell about 6 miles offshore? You're probably picturing yourself as a surfer dude catching some gnarly waves, right? So imagine you grab your board and start paddling out. Suddenly, in the clear blue summer sky, a blinding flash appears, and then this enormous wave forms, towering over 6 stories high. You must be wondering what just triggered this epic tsunami on such a peaceful day at sea. You're now caught in this colossal wave. Your chances of survival, 0. But hold up, since Earth's oceans sprawl over an impressive 70% of our planet, it's way more probable that our needle lands far away from human habitats. With its speed approaching light, this tiny object packs a massive punch, equivalent to 100 tons of TNT or 6 bombs dropped on Hiroshima. Now, picture this: the ocean beneath you suddenly evaporates due to the enormous energy released by such an impact. It's a mind-boggling sight that defies imagination. But here's the reality check: we're not talking about a total ocean wipeout. Let's say a whopping 2 million tons evaporate, equivalent to boiling away Australia's Pink Lake Hillier or Iceland's Blue Lagoon. Now, imagine a gigantic cloud of steam shooting up 6 miles into our troposphere, causing some serious weather chaos. We'd have tropical downpours like never before, heavy showers that turn streets into rivers and leave people swimming past in their cars. Fallen trees would knock out power lines, leaving you internet-less for weeks. And if this scenario were to repeat itself 100 times with needles hitting the ocean, pushing steam all the way up to the stratosphere, climate change might become much harder to spot. The aftermath would be even more catastrophic. Excess water vapor would kickstart a runaway greenhouse effect, slowly but surely heating up our planet until the oceans boil away. Picture Earth turning into a mini Venus, no life in sight. But here's another wild card. If that 2 million tons of steam reached as high as the mesosphere, temperatures dropped to 176 C to 194 C. If it were to fall back to Earth, it'd do so in a form you wouldn't want, as massive hailstones. The effects would be unpredictable and far-reaching, potentially taking days instead of hours. Eventually, an icy deluge would be inevitable, flooding our planet with a frozen nightmare scenario. But let's assume this extreme scenario plays out differently. The evaporated ocean water could come crashing back as a massive flood, and we'd be looking at widespread devastation. But what if the falling water were to land in one of the most treacherous spots on Earth? I'm talking about Lake Karachi, a nuclear hotbed since 1951. Over 6 decades, this lake has stored an astonishing 150 million curies of radioactive waste, enough to potentially unleash a catastrophic catastrophe when mixed with the floodwaters. Now, picture this: the equivalent of 6 Chernobyl disasters condensed into Lake Karachi, an alarming amount of radioactive waste stored here since the 50s. By 2015, it got a concrete makeover to contain the danger. Yet, even sealed, it's still off limits for any casual hangout. Spend just 15 minutes on its shores, and you'd absorb enough radiation to equal 600 X-ray doses. That's fatal. So, what if our cosmic dart were to strike this deadly spot at nearly light speed? Just imagine that cosmic dart hitting Lake Karachi at near light speed. Within nanoseconds, the concrete seal wouldn't stand a chance. Radioactive dust would spread across a 125-mile radius in an instant. That's no mushroom cloud of nuclear smoke. It'd be a toxic blanket, bringing a stench of rotten eggs for hundreds of miles. But what if our needle somehow landed near Yellowstone's geysers? The result would be just as catastrophic. All 3,000 underground springs, including the world's largest geyser, Steamboat, would instantly evaporate. releasing an 8% concentration of carbon dioxide in a deadly cloud that'd take down anyone within minutes to an hour. And if that weren't enough, you'd also have to deal with noxious hydrogen sulfide gas adding its toxic touch. Hold on to your seats. It's time to put our cosmic needle scenario to rest. Needles don't actually travel through space. However, let's consider a tiny object from outer space zooming in at incredible speed. The harsh truth: even the tiniest space object wouldn't survive its trip to Earth. It'd disintegrate in our upper atmosphere, vaporized by the intense heat of friction against air molecules. This thought experiment might seem like pure sci-fi, but trust me, we're about to take a reality check that'll blow your mind. So, you thought a tiny object from space couldn't reach Earth? Well, what if I told you it doesn't even need to come from outer space? Imagine this. Deep beneath Geneva's Swiss hills in 2008, the world witnessed history being made at the Large Hadron Collider, a machine so powerful it could propel protons spinning both clockwise and counterclockwise at nearly light speed into each other. The stage was set for something incredible. All we needed was one more crucial piece to our cosmic puzzle. Think about it, to actually reach light speed, these protons would only need an extra boost of just 9.8 feet per second. To keep them hurtling at nearly that pace, we're talking a whopping electricity bill equivalent to powering 500,000 homes for an hour, 180 megawatts, which is mind-boggling on its own. But here's the thing. People's imaginations have run wild about what could go wrong inside this incredible machine, giving birth to some seriously crazy myths. One popular doomsday tale claims that when these high-energy particles crash into each other, they create a miniature black hole capable of sucking our entire planet in Cue the Apocalypse. Picture this: a colossal, invisible tornado born from the Large Hadron Collider's magnetic might shooting straight into space, its base stretching an astonishing 16 miles wide. As it reaches for the heavens, its top would blanket our entire sky for hundreds of miles. Now, imagine if this electromagnetic whirlwind somehow got out of control and started drawing in particles from outer space at lightning speed. The resulting collision within the collider would be nothing short of spectacular or catastrophic. The incoming particles would burn up in our atmosphere, painting the sky with a breathtaking cosmic tale before an explosion of unimaginable force would rock Switzerland, leaving half of it in ruins. In the heart of Switzerland's breathtaking landscape, where serene lakes meet lush alpine pastures, disaster would strike. Not a single stone would remain standing as the force of the collider's mishap unleashes its fury. Desperate for a solution, the Swiss might turn to an emergency shield designed to deflect the microparticles hurtling towards them. But there's a twist: the altered Earth magnetic field near Lake Geneva could trigger a massive ozone hole, allowing icy air from the mesosphere to plunge towards our planet's surface. Just imagine it: in just a few days, the world could be plunged into an ice age, and within weeks, we'd be staring at a frozen globe. As the temperature drops to a chilling 8 degrees Celsius or about 46 degrees Fahrenheit, our bodies would struggle to cope. Hemoglobin's ability to deliver oxygen to vital organs would grind to a halt, causing widespread cell death as tissues suffocate from lack of nutrients and oxygen. In this dire scenario, human survival would hang by a thread. But fear not, we're far from experiencing such a catastrophe in reality. However, if this fictional disaster were to occur, our world might resemble a gritty post-apocalyptic landscape where you'd need a gas mask just to step outside. Cities would transform into underground habitats as people flee to bomb shelters for safety, and life as we know it would be drastically altered. In the face of such an apocalyptic scenario, humanity would be forced to put aside its differences and work together towards survival. Just picture it: a barren Earth, with only a small fire flickering to life, and you're gathered round it with friends, all clad in gas masks, strumming guitars and belting out haunting melodies. It's a surreal scene that somehow makes the apocalypse seem almost romantic. But moving on from this hypothetical world, let's dive into some fascinating facts. Did you know that Switzerland takes the top spot when it comes to nuclear bomb shelters? Switzerland takes bunker building to an impressive scale, so much so that nearly every residential building has its own secret underground hideaway. In fact, they've got a staggering 300,000 of these bunkers spread across the country, capable of housing over 8.5 million people. That's roughly 1/14% of the Swiss population, given a safe place to weather any storm. But here's the kicker: Switzerland has never been a part of major arms races or global conflicts. So was their extensive bunker system just a coincidence or a long-sighted strategy? Now it's your turn. Let's dive into some mind-blowing questions. I'd love to hear from you. Do you think Switzerland's extensive bunker system is more than just a coincidence? Share your thoughts on that in the comments below. And while we're talking about incredible feats of technology, what about the Large Hadron Collider? Some people worry it could create miniature black holes.